Oh, hi there. Welcome back to Pixel Juice. Today we're going to be discussing Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Luke's also dressed as Chewbacca. That's the joke, really. There's nothing else. Just Chewbacca. If you haven't heard anything about this new spin-off movie, then let us get you up to speed. Voiceover guy, take it away.
Thanks, lads. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is the first in a new series of spin-off movies from Disney and LucasArts. We ditch the Jedi and Sith, and this time follow a ragtag team of rebels as they travel across the galaxy in an attempt to recover the plans for the Death Star. Is this movie one with the Force? Or has the franchise taken a turn to the dark side? Back to you boys in the studio.
So now you're all up to speed, let's talk general impressions.
Overall, I thought it was a great direction for the spin-offs in terms of a kind of a more adult look at the Star Wars universe. I thought it was an interesting take on the franchise.
It's definitely a Star Wars film. It's definitely not a Star Wars film you've seen before.
Yeah.
We've never really seen the general civilians under rule of the tyrannous empire.
Like you said, it's very much gritty, realistic.
What did you think of the characters in this film? Because obviously you didn't have the Jedi this time, but you did have a cast of, quite a
Misfits.
wide... Yeah, like a cast. Yeah, a cast of misfits.
A band of rogues.
I thought they were good.
Yeah.
They were like they're all very different and all very likable. I do think that it was a really good performance from Felicity Jones in this film. I think overall, all the characters were portrayed well.
Who do
Did
you
a great
think was
job.
the weakest character in this?
Overall, I like the characters. There is one that I didn't like, and that was the robot,
K2SO.
K2SO.
I really enjoyed K2SO. He's sort of the comic relief, but at the same time a badass killing machine.
He's a reprogrammed Empire robot, so he's
Yeah.
supposed to be just kind of going out strangling people and just killing people.
Standard Empire robot.
Yeah. So overall, what did you dislike about him then, in particular?
I didn't feel like it flowed well with the film to have him as a character. It just felt like an attack on C-3PO.
He was kind of like a comic relief character, like you said a
Yeah.
minute ago. The film could have gone down the path of being too kind of serious and too gloomy, if not.
What about the main villain?
So Ben Mendelsohn plays a brand new villain. He plays kind of like a Empire general, basically.
Krennic.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed him as a villain. I mean, especially at the start. I mean, obviously later on he becomes a bit of a bitch boy, but at the beginning he's a very sinister villain. And you compared him a bit to
Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards, and that opening scene where he plays this very menacing but coming across very sweet and
almost like he wants to be your friend, but actually
Yeah.
he wants to kill you.
I think he kind of perfectly portrays what the Empire's about.
There's also a lot of depth to him in the sense he's not a popular guy to the rebels, obviously, but he's not that popular in the
He's
Empire.
kind of like middle management
Yeah.
in retail. He's like, he wants the area managers to love him, but he treats the staff like shit. In terms of other villains and returning characters, there's a few surprise appearances. I mean, Darth Vader's no surprise if you've seen the trailers. Voiced by the original
James Earl Jones.
voice
Yeah.
actor, yeah.
Back again.
Mufasa.
And this-
Simba.
Back to his old antics. He's chokeholding a few people. What did you think of Darth Vader's return?
I loved it. I think he's portrayed in a way that we've not really seen him before.
You mentioned to me off camera a couple gripes with the costume. A lot of people I've spoken to since have confirmed.
And I felt that when watching it as well.
Yeah.
There's something slightly wrong in that first
It was
scene
the
when it's
neck
well lit.
piece.
So
It's
that's
the
what
neck
everybody
piece.
says, it's the neck
Yeah,
piece. People saying like his neck comes out.
We see Darth Vader in like we've not seen him really in the other films before, and it's everything you wanted to see.
Yes,
I felt it was handled perfectly. We've had a lot of Star Wars films and we come to expect a lot from lightsaber wielders. And obviously in the prequels you've got them flipping left, right and
Acrobatics and
centre.
jumping around.
In A New Hope, it's sort of just old people poking each other. What this does is it makes Darth Vader absolutely badass, but it's still the Darth Vader you know and love from the original
He's still
trilogy.
limited to his movements, isn't he? He's not doing any backflips or anything. He's
Yeah.
It kind of gives you that perspective from the rebel soldier's point of view as well, the
Yeah,
terror,
like,
because
yeah.
he is a scary figure, and coming at you with a lightsaber and the Force,
they're all
it must be
terrified of him.
horrible.
So old Darth isn't the only character returning this time round. There are a few other characters returning from the classic films, but they might not be alive. They've used movie magic to bring them back from the dead, or at least one of them. And Luke, what did you think of the effects?
I mean, yeah, it's the best looking dead person I've seen for a while.
We've seen a lot of them here in Pixel
yeah.
Juice.
Yeah, these characters that when you watch it, you'll know who we're talking about. They look really good. You know it's obviously CGI, but you don't tend to care.
The only thing that gives it away is a few little kind of like movements around the mouth. What do you think of the story overall, in terms of pacing, in terms of kind of the beats and what goes on?
Yeah.
And...
So I'm happy to go on record saying this is, out of every Star Wars film ever released, my favourite.
And that's a
Second
tall order.
favourite.
Second, do you reckon?
Mine's second, yeah. Next to Empire.
I'm talking.
I don't care.
So I think if I had to critique the plot line, there is a lot of story in not enough film. However, it's a good story.
I wouldn't want the film to be any longer as well.
No.
I personally think that there's a great story in there. It could do with 1 or 2 less scenes.
How did you feel about the story?
Personally, I enjoyed the story. I was gripped throughout the whole film.
It's definitely...
I think the pacing was good. I liked the locations. I liked the fact that they went to all these different worlds.
Oh,
It
man,
felt like
yeah.
a grand adventure.
You get introduced to 3
Dagobah.
planets right off the bat and then go to
Yeah.
2 more which you've never heard of.
And you get a real feel that the Empire is just kind of spread out and taken over as much as possible. So the main centerpiece of this film is Jeddah, which is basically kind of the old Jedi planet. The main city on this planet is like a bit of a stronghold for people, even though the Empire are using it to mine the old Kyber crystals for their own misdeed. You've got the aliens walking around, you've got all the animatronics, you've got CGI,
Yeah.
you've got a few cameos as well from a few characters.
Some solid cameos. I'd
Yeah,
say,
like
but-
really minor characters from the old films. The attention to detail doesn't just span the kind of the props and the way it looks. The
Well,
attention to detail in
really-
the story is brilliant.
You say it because I don't want to spoil anything, but this does fix the biggest plot hole in A New Hope.
Completely.
You can call it a spin-off. This is A New Hope prequel.
Right, okay, the last half hour, by far the best bit of the film.
Yeah.
The battle, awesome. I think it just works in every way, really.
It's the first sort of Star Wars battle you've seen where you're not following the superhero Jedi.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
following the boots on the ground soldiers.
The rebels are kind of
The rebels.
It's much more guerrilla warfare than any other battle we've seen in the Star Wars universe.
And higher stakes because you don't know what's going to happen to the characters. You don't know who's going to survive Rogue One.
Yeah. It's like they're dispensable almost, because this isn't meant to be part of another franchise. It's like it's a spin-off.
It's definitely recording.
That's weird though, was that? It's like fucking mouse tap dancing or something.
Oh, that was my shoes rubbing against each other.
Alright.
And while you've got this battle going on the ground, you've got a massive dogfight
Yeah.
in space, and not just in space, on the planet. The X-wing battles versus TIE fighters destroys Force Awakens.
Yeah.
This is way more reminiscent of the original.
The ships alone kind of make it for me because they look spot on.
The Star Destroyers, or at least the first time you see one, it just feels like a model. The first thing I thought was like,
I
that
think
looks
it
like a
is.
model.
Yeah,
And it
it's
is, and
definitely-
it- and
it's
it is.
definitely
It
a
must
model.
be. Those scenes either in space or just in the airspace of that planet. Brilliant. Like, it's really well done. You've got some new TIE fighters, you've got some new vehicles, kind of some new ships going at it. So overall, I think we've talked about the film enough. We've all got our opinions, but I think it's pretty clear kind of which page we're on. So Luke, on our patent pending scale of love or hate, do you love the film or do you hate the film?
Without a shadow of a doubt, loved it. Every minute of it.
Yeah.
Go and see it because it is incredible.
Jordan, what do you think? Do you love or hate the film?
Yeah, I think it's glaringly obvious what I'm going to say. Love.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, we've already won the 2 out of 3 system we do on Pickle Juice. We love the film, but I'll leave you with my comments as well. I think the film's great. I think you should definitely go see it if you get the chance. Not only is it a good Star Wars film and a worthy entry into the franchise, it's just a good film overall.
So that's it for our thoughts on Rogue One, a Star Wars story. As always, like, share and subscribe. It goes a lot to help us out.
Yeah, and if you fancy it, check out last week's episode where Jordan and Luke unfortunately were off with a bit of a ticky tummy after eating a bad bit of chicken, and I had to co-host the show myself. So with that, what do you think of the movie? Oh god, I'll tell you what I think. No, give me a warning. Yeah, it wasn't fun. Yeah, he was very aggressive. The cloning process has a lot to iron out. I guess the moral of the story there is never play God. It never turns out well if we had to put him down. So that's been it for today. Nothing, just bye, I guess.
No.